Hey, what's good? You're in the right place at the right time. This is the Culture Capital, reactions that spark conversation. My name is Courtney Hamilton. I'm a music producer, singer-songwriter, audio engineer, and CEO of Full Court Music. Today, I'm also joined by my co-host, the infamous Chris Lord.
Yo, what's up, son? What's good?
Yes, Chris is a recording artist, and he is one half of the group Steve and Chris. To my right, the illustrious, the lovely Lindsay Castillo, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Castillo.
Lindsay is an actress. She's the star of the Mahalika Warrior Spirit. You got to check that out, dropping soon. Lindsay's also the CEO of Lindsay Loves You Productions, and they put out some wonderful content. Lindsay's doing big things. Love you. Thank you for being here, Lindsay. To my left, all the way from Chicago, Chicago's very own, all-around truth seeker.
The Windy City.
Yes, real-life Barbie doll, as you can see. All right? Jennifer Figura. How you doing, Jennifer?
Good. How are you guys?
Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Jen is also a co-founder of the Traffic and Sex organization. You can check out our work online. We'll have links in the description. All right. Do us a favor and smash the like and subscribe buttons to become a part of Culture Nation. And without further ado, let's question everything and go beyond the hype. Is music controlling more than your mood?
Is it?
I don't know. Well, Kanye says frequencies go deeper than we think. Let's see if he's right.
Kanye West exposes how music manipulates you.
The 808 exists in the lowest chakra of your body. The majority of content that's related to the 808 is killer or sexual content. The original 808s was even off pitch. So that meant it's an actual sound in the track that you don't realize is there that is fucking up your entire frequency. And now, today, every time I hear a car come out, it's 808. But if you think about African music and hip-hop and what we breakdance to, it was light.
The percussion.
It was upbeat. It was the drums. Now it's like, and all of this is a bigger, and it's like, man, you know, at this point, it's like they should have killed me when I said George Bush don't care about black people.
Wow.
Wow. You said it.
Being a musician and having been in the field for longer than I like to remember.
Okay.
There's a lot of truth to that. Frequencies are very powerful. When it comes to the 808s, as he said, on a sacral chart, a chakra chart. You all are familiar with chakras,
Yes.
right?
Well, yes.
So chakra, you have the crown chakra all the way down to the root chakra. And as Nikola Tesla stated many times, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Right. Now, it is very true that when you play certain frequencies, they can open you up and manipulate your emotion in different ways, hence why certain types of music make us feel certain ways. If you want to invoke a feeling of sadness or despair or tension, you play what's called a minor chord, or you make music that's minor. It has a lot of tension, and a lot of hip-hop music has that. Gangster rap had that. Dre, they used to do a lot of that stuff on the West Coast. So it's very true, and depending on the message you put in with that vibration, once a person's open, you can input whatever message you want. It's just like, so it's like when you're watching a movie and you go into the movie one way, you're excited to see it or whatever, but then you come out, and depending on how good the screenplay and the music was, the accompanying tones in that movie, it makes you feel inspired, you feel angry, you feel like, oh my God, I gotta do something about this. I should, it has an effect on you. And that's my take on it. What he's saying is absolute fact. It's absolute fact. And it's been weaponized in the music industry, specifically the hip-hop industry. And that's a conversation for another day, but I totally agree with him.
No, but let's go there, because I think that's where I'm curious, because so this is my question. You and Chris may know more. but Kanye made an album. What is it? 808 and Heartbreak.
And Heartbreaks,
2008.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
were there 808s in there?
Yes.
So I just don't understand. Help clarify this for me. People watching, clarify this for me. Is he now against 808s? When did this video come out? Was he for it before when he made the album? What changed? Why is he speaking out against it now?
So I guess most likely just to open up to the awareness of what the music does do. You know, like I was reading about the American Standardized Association and what they used to do back in 1936.
I like where you're going. I like where you're going.
They had the hertz up to 440. This is what made music pleasant. People listen to it, you dance to it, da 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 da. But later throughout the years, they dropped it down to 436 hertz, and it was found to influence the nervous system, and that's where subliminal messages can they can come in.
I don't mean to cut you.
Yeah.
They, I believe, because music now is the standard is 44.1. It was higher,
Right.
so it was 40. If I'm not mistaken, 43.6 or what have you. But it was 43. It was 43.
But they dropped
They
it.
dropped it
And
to 44.1.
And they found that it can get
what-
dropped lower. It can get dropped lower. That's where the CIA comes in, and they can use it to manipulate certain things on it. So
No,
I
you're
find
right,
it.
yeah.
I find it that topic that he just spit on is very interesting because it shows the secrets of the music industry.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
what? So everyone out there, I mean, my name is Lindsay Loves You. I like pop
That's-
music.
That's who she is.
I like pop music. I like relaxing music. But of course, like in high school, I listened to a lot more like hip hop and rap because I liked it. But I always felt, just in like a very basic knowledge, I always felt really down. And it also like evoked a lot of like sexual feelings. And I realize like you said, this is all in the frequency. They want you to feel this way, and so do the
Yes.
lyrics. But I remember telling my parents, I was like, no, I just like the beat. Everyone says that. I just like the beat. I'm just
Yeah.
listening to the beat. No, there is messages just in the frequency, just in those beats.
Yes.
Subliminal, so subliminal. that-
Yes, and I just because I want to make a correction. I think we made a mistake when I was wording it to Chris, and when he was saying, we said drop down. Actually, and I want to make sure we get this right. What happened is it was 432, and then I believe it was the Rockefeller Foundation, if I'm not mistaken, they changed it to 440 hertz. So
But why is there a standard? Why?
It's
that goes deep. That's a deep rabbit hole.
Let's
That's
go.
a deep rabbit
You guys
hole.
wanna go?
Yeah, that's
Music
too.
was tuned originally to 432 because of the positive effects on the human body. Since the 1950s, again, the Rockefeller Foundation, because these people are occultists, and research that on your own time, but they understand at a very minute level the power of tones and frequency, amongst other things. And so they realized to make the population more docile or more controllable, if you enwrap the entertainment in a certain frequency, then it has a different effect. And they were right.
it rouse up it can get the masses, rouse up the masses.
Yes, and anything you put, mind you, and not every song is in the same key or what have you, but the tuning, the container that music sits in is 440 hertz. It's based off of that. So anything you play in that range is going to have a certain effect because it's not the 432. It's a whole different set of things. You can boil water with sound. Y'all know that?
Yes, of course, I've heard it.
Okay, you can boil water with sound. So needless to say, not to be long-winded.
Boil some water.
Yeah, yes, and levitate objects
some
too. But I'm with Kanye on that one. Man.
So is he not going to use 808s anymore? Do you guys know?
He did. He went away. From that. He went away. If you've listened to his more recent projects, Vultures and the other projects he's done, he's always having revelations. So he's always reinventing himself.
I like that about him.
Right. So
Yeah.
now you don't know. He might he might have an album where he's just snapping his fingers or something, or just listen to
You never
spoons.
know what you never know. You never know with the West.
He's always evolving. I appreciate that about him. He says a lot of controversial and polarizing things, but I appreciate that about him. I really do. I really do. So, in relation to that, do you all think that technology can control your mind?
Yes.
Do you all believe that?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Well, let's dive into or explore the truth about psychotronic weaponry.
10 hertz would create that hypnotic state. That was used by the Russians beginning in the 1970s to pulse those hertz into the US Embassy, begin to mess with people. And then 10 hertz was also used in megachurches. They found these devices in churches to begin to hypnotize people, to get them to more suggestive so that they accept what they're saying a bit easier. They'll use it for interrogation techniques as well, in order to get people to drop their defenses a bit more. A lot of these things are abused heavily for mind control, for whatever they want to use it for. That's all psychotronic weaponry. From the 3 to the 30 hertz range is considered the zone of psychotronic weaponry, where they can affect people's minds.
That is also, I also do agree with this, again, being in the field. This stuff is really serious. And you heard he said in mega churches, and they do this in movies too, and a lot of television programming. There are sub frequencies that are played. You can't audibly hear it, but you can feel it. It invokes a certain mood. It makes you engage more with the content. Hollywood's been doing that for a very long time. Very, very long time.
They've been doing it on the low.
On the low. Yes,
'cause
for a very long time.
So this is 10 hertz, right? 10 hertz. Okay.
Yeah, between 3 and 30 hertz. But yes, 10.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
So, okay. Culture Nation, I looked this up last night. I'm going to say, I'm going to add more information to this so everything's all in context.
Okay.
The key word here is he said abused, right? So that doesn't mean that 10 hertz is bad.
Right.
Because a lot of people tend to use it also to relax. Look, 10 hertz is proven to improve recognition and memory in older people. It's also used for relaxation and rhythm. It's often used to improve sleep and reduce stress. What he's referring to is the manipulation on a mass level, right? But if an individual says, you know what, I'm going to use this for meditation. This can be used in a positive sense too. So I don't want to go down and say like, don't listen to 10 hertz. It's almost like the Bible. It can be used as a weapon if someone wants to use it as a manipulation, but it's also can be used for good if you understand the message and the intention behind it. Gil, actually, if you can really quick, play 10 hertz really quick so that our listeners can just like understand the context, what it sounds like.
3, 2, 1.
So there it is. So you guys can decide for yourselves. Courtney, I'm going to let you finish that statement, but like, I honestly, 10 hertz is relaxing. And me, I have ADD. I've got to play something in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't have total silence all the time. Sometimes I just need to just
It's unnerving.
center.
Yes,
Yeah.
like brown noise. You ever listen to brown noise?
No.
No? You ever listen to brown noise? It's the same frequencies as like the washing machine. When the washing machine is going in the background, that really low relaxing.
Or the dryer.
Yes, or when you're in a car, like why babies fall asleep in cars a lot.
Yes.
It's brown noise. It's
too.
brown.
I thought it was black noise.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Black noise. They're
Yeah, I
in the
need
same
black
range.
noise to
Black
sleep.
noise is really like super muffled.
Oh,
brown noise
okay.
is right above that. So that washing machine, the hum of the wheels when you're in the car and you're like in the back seat just traveling, or when you're on a plane and it's quiet on the plane, that sound. That's brown noise. It's super relaxing. Yeah, I use that a lot too. I use that a lot. Now, I like what you said, Lindsay, because it, again, like we were saying in the first one, it's not necessarily the frequencies itself, it's the intention put behind them. That's what it is. That's what it is.
They were saying in Dateline that they was talking about the Soviet Union and how they were using that, using the technology, and how America used to go into the same to counter. They wanted to counter their the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was doing it 24/7, 7 days a week, trying to influence mind control.
Yes.
So they wanted Americans to do it and use it more, but of course, Americans will frown upon being known that they're doing something like that. Soviet Union don't give a damn. They're going to do it in front of God in the world. So
I'm trying to tell you, man.
So,
isn't that something? Yeah.
So it definitely, both countries are utilizing it. Who's publicly using it is that's for another topic.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I like that though, Courtney. That is a good point. It's like there's literally sound that's a weapon.
Literally.
Like that's how they're breaking down nations.
Literally.
They're penetrating nations that way. The
Yes.
US nation that way by using sound.
Yes.
It is abusive. Can you imagine sitting in a room for like 12 hours and 10 hertz is constantly playing? Would you feel relaxed to the point that you're telling them all your secrets?
I think there is a breaking point. As with anything, I think there's a breaking point. There's a point of diminishing returns where now too much is too much. If I don't know if you all have ever heard about the ADS, the active denial system. It's used by the military and law enforcement in certain places. It's literally, you may have seen these trucks with these like tank-looking trucks with these weird little apparatuses on top. It's like a dish.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they had this in
Octagon. Octagon shape.
Yes, an octagon shape.
Yeah.
They had this in the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
A few versions back.
And
You saw it?
this is the one with Ed Norton.
Yes, I believe that. I believe that was the one.
Ed Norton. And
Yeah.
they shot him with the beams of
Yes.
highly intense.
That's
sound waves
sound. Yeah.
that was able to push him back and had his face all.
Yes.
I think I know what you're
That's a
talking
real
about.
thing, and the active denial system, the military uses it. There are demonstrations. You can look it up online and see it. The Navy uses it as well, and depending on how they manipulate the frequency coming out of the gun, the dish,
It hits with force.
It will. Yes, it can make you feel like you're on fire. It can make you vomit. It can
knock
make
you
you
back.
feel
Oh,
like
for
you're
sure.
going
It can make
insane.
your
Like no,
head
I'm
explode.
because what they do is they take the frequency and they multiply it. They intensify it. So it's like looking through a telescope.
Concentrated.
Concentrated. Sunlight feels great.
Yep.
But if you put it through a lens,
Yep.
the right lens, and
Yeah.
hold it on your skin, it's going to burn you.
Yeah.
So
No, it's interesting too because I have 2 dogs, and certain sounds they can hear, and it'll drive them crazy. I may not be able to hear it, but I can feel the pressure in my ears.
oh wow,
I can feel something's going on here, and that lets you know like, okay, this is another form that can hurt. You can use it as a weapon,
Right.
And I obviously have never used it, but I can imagine that times like 100.
Yes. Right. Again, application and intention. As with anything in life.
Well, let me ask you a question, Courtney.
Okay. Sure.
Would you ever use that against your worst enemy?
Yeah.
Right. Would you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But isn't this kind of also related
with the
to
sweet
the
voice.
5G
Yeah.
towers?
Say that again.
Yeah.
Isn't this also related to the 5G towers?
It's in the same family.
If people that live next to them get really sick, they move just because California's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do something with the vibration also that makes you,
That is documented.
Oh my God.
That is
Yeah.
documented, real facts. When we were out in California the last time, California's got it real bad.
Yeah.
They got the fake palm trees.
Yes.
They try to make them look like palm
Yeah,
trees.
blended in.
Right, yeah,
Oh.
blended in. I see through every time I'm around
He sees
outside. I see it.
everything.
Yeah, I'm just tuned into it, so I'm always looking like, oh my God, there's so many of these out here. And it really does have a negative effect. But see, the thing is, people are like, well, if it's, why do they allow it? If it's so bad.
exactly.
The thing is, it does it in such a microwave.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to say it, but microwave, because it's a microwave. It is a microwave. And what it does it in such a small scale over time.
Yeah.
That depending on who you are and your sensitivities and your genetic makeup,
Yes.
some people have more adverse effects than others.
Right.
But very, 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 very
Yeah.
true. Very
Yeah.
true. Now, to answer your
Scary.
question, would I use it on my worst enemy?
Yes.
That depends again on the situation, because if it's a life or death thing, if you're threatening my family, my kids, all bets are off.
Yeah.
So yes.
And you're an audio producer, so you know how to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I'll tell you this before we move on. One of my mottos and my statements to and fellow music producers, I know we're all at different levels and stages, but if a person listens to a piece of music that you've orchestrated, that you've produced, and they aren't transported to a different place after listening to that music, and your desired place, the intention you put into that music, if they aren't in a different space after listening to that piece of music you've produced, you failed in your
I was about
attempt.
to say the same thing. You have failed.
Yeah, you have, and I don't mean to be so harsh, but what I'm saying is, if you have mastered your art right, you understand how frequencies work, how psychoacoustics work. So it's long been said, been talked about in many different circles. I am of the belief that Michael Jackson, that is, was in a fight with Sony before the end of his life. And if you want to know how crazy these conglomerates can get, these big companies can get, just take a look at the situation with Diddy. Even though a lot of what he's in, I do believe, is rightfully and justly deserved, nonetheless, let's take a look into it. Dr. Umar Johnson, who's never been one to shy away from controversy,
Never.
has his own take on it. So let's see what he says.
Michael Jackson owned the Beatles catalog, which made him 50% owner of Sony Records. Sony Records said, oh, no way. We can't let a Negro own half of this, even if he's the #1 selling artist of all time. So Michael Jackson's album Invincible comes out, and what does Sony do? They give him no promotion. They sabotage Invincible to make sure Michael Jackson goes into debt. And then they come back to Michael and say, you're in debt, Michael. You owe us a couple mil. Give us the Beatles music. Michael says, no. I'm going to have a concert, raise the money to pay y'all off. You're never getting the catalog. Michael Jackson made one mistake. He was living in Dubai with his brother. He decided to come back to the Staples Center to perform. Fatal mistake. Mike should have stayed over there until the concerts were done.
Yes, that's a lot to unpack there, but we'll
chop it up in pieces.
Yeah. Wow. Even after years after, and mind you, if you don't know this already, Michael Jackson was extremely savvy as a businessman. He was light years ahead of a lot of his contemporaries because he understood the real game of the music industry at that time, and even now. He realized, having been in it from he was a child, that the real money and wealth was the residual wealth. And in so being, he said, well, where's that at? The publishing. Because with publishing, you can do whatever you want. You have what's called sync royalties. You have licensing. It's way more than just your album sales.
Right.
There's way beyond that. Most wealthy people are wealthy because they are investors. They have assets.
And Michael Jackson was definitely an investor when it came to that.
Yes.
Because he bought the Beatles. Through Paul McCartney.
Yep.
And they were friends. They were good friends at first, and they stopped being friends because of that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
But that's, I think that's the thing. Like, if we're friends right now, it's one thing if we had a conversation about that and we say, hey, Paul, I'd like to buy your catalog. And you're like, no. And I went ahead and did it anyway.
Right.
And don't quote me on this. I don't think Paul was even aware of that
part
situation, that was even a possibility because of how his contract was structured at the time and where Mike was in his whole sphere, in his ecosystem. So I think, don't quote me, by the time that took place and by the time Paul found out, I mean, It's like,
So
sorry.
wait, are you saying that there was secrets?
Wait, say that again.
Threats.
Are you saying that there were secrets? Like Paul didn't know?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. That's not the only
Based off of,
catalog
like-
Mike did that with. Either. That's not the only one. That's just one. That's just
They
one.
did it
of
with
many.
a few other people, but
Yes.
How much is the Beatles catalog worth?
Oh, we can.
Actually, I have.
Go ahead.
Numbers,
Thank you. Thank
'cause
you.
I was curious too.
Receipts.
All right, so Michael Jackson purchased the Beatles catalog for $47 million, and that was in 1985.
Wow.
1980. That's a lot of money. And then he sold 50% of the catalog to Sony for another $95 million. After Michael's death, Sony paid his estate $750 million to own full rights. Who can do math? That's a lot of money.
Wow, Michael Jackson.
So at this point,
beast.
to answer your question, the Beatles catalog is now estimated to be over $1 billion.
Wow.
Boom.
Michael Jackson had that plan executed. He was looking into the future.
Yes.
And saw way beyond it. He bought it for a certain amount of money. And he won. He won because
Yes, he did.
his estate has the $700 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot
And
of
that's
money.
just that. That's just the Beatles catalog. We didn't go into the other catalogs that he owned because he even tried to come at Rodney Jerkins, who's affectionately known as Dark Child. He was behind a lot of hits we love like Say My Name, Destiny's Child,
Dark Child.
Dark Child. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So shout out to you, Rodney. But he came at Rodney. But Rodney's smart. And Rodney was like, I don't know, Mike. So, I think Rodney hung on to his. But, again, Sony's playing this. No one, to my knowledge, up until that point, had even had the savvy or the ability, the resources, the wherewithal to even pull something like that off with a company that massive. Think about Sony right now, everybody. Think about Sony.
They're everywhere.
How many Sony products have you owned, do own now, or will own? How many fields are they in? That's a massive company. And we're just talking about their entertainment side, the music side. So for him to come at, half of the company?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Clearly worth a lot.
Yeah,
Like
the
the value, not even just the money, just
the intrinsic
power.
value.
Yeah.
That was just the catalog. You know what I mean? So now again, so that much power, him wielding that much power, what Dr. Umar was saying, what do you all think about that? Do you really think that
Sony had him knocked off?
Yeah, because what we didn't see is the whole thing with Conrad Murray, his quote unquote doctor that was around him at that time, because there was a lot of suspicious things going on in that investigation. And what Dr. Umar, his opinion is on it is that Conrad Murray got paid off. He did about 5 years or so in prison, but he got paid off to stay quiet, just to shut up and be the fall guy. And he did that. There's a lot of other things surrounding that we haven't gotten into that, but I just want to get everybody's opinion. How do you feel about that?
I heard that was a solid. It's a solid conspiracy. What's going on with that doctor? Because at the time, that's when they were trying to get the money back from him.
Yes,
and that's when they was hitting him with all the painkillers, different types of cocktails and stuff. He was injured. Not injured, but all of the years of dancing and being on his feet, the pain.
Yes.
So what you're saying?
It's on in.
So what you're saying and what you think is that the doctor subliminally, whatever, slipped him his cocktails to help induce his death sooner.
It's looking that way because. At that point, this wasn't the first time he did it. He was had been on, I think it was propofol, I believe is the name of the one he used for sleep.
It's like anesthesia or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
What is that? Fentanyl. Fentanyl.
Okay.
Yes. Propofol. I think it's in that family. Okay. And you have to have an anesthesiologist that you have to be licensed for that to even use that stuff because it's so potent. I saw a video clip not that long ago of an officer pulling over somebody on the roadside, and we'll move on after this. The fentanyl in the trunk was so strong. The smell. They went up to apprehend the person, and they got him out. And from the smell of it, she went into convulsions.
The police officer?
Yes, her partner had to come out of his car and help her out and call for backup to resuscitate her.
Right.
So anyway, again, a lot to unravel there, but crazy stuff.
That's it for today's episode. Thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. If you haven't already, smash the like and subscribe buttons to become a part of the Culture Nation. But until then, question everything and go beyond the hype.
This episode is sponsored by FastCreditRestoration.com, #1 in the nation for personal finance restoration. Look, whether you're trying to keep your credit in check or make big moves, Fast Credit Restoration has you covered with easy and reliable services. With over 20 years of experience in the field, they're the best. Don't let bad credit hold you back from living your best life. Check them out at FastCreditRestoration.com or call 1-855-327-5847 and let them help you unlock your full financial potential now.